That's why you don't see massive protests in the U.S. Or who are we going to protest? We can't all drive to Washington, D.C. It kind of reminds me of what Pelosi said. By the way, now is the beginning of YouTube. But you remember when we had like the protests where we're all coordinating together? We were going to drive to D.C. and protest the shutdown. And they were throwing the gates for the Lincoln Memorial and stuff around. People were just mad. And Pelosi's response at that time was, how are they still affording this? That will not happen this time because most of us are not affording that. And most of us understand that it's pointless, as we have all watched and learned. So then you start to wonder, well, what will they do next? What could possibly be the herd's quote-unquote trump card to attack the system? Well, remember, the herd doesn't think that way. The herd thinks about survival. They're not trying to attack anything. Unless it's an imminent threat, like, somebody coming to shoot them. Then they'll attack. But as it stands right now, they're not trying to attack anything. They're just trying to survive. So pray tell, what in the world would a herd do when faced with that kind of situation? Well, it's like right now, as we spoke about earlier in this. They're already preparing. It's going to be a giant waiting game. Now, remember, for those of you who forgot, there are lines in the sand when it comes to these herds. Around 10% of them normally, and some of that 10% can get others to join them. So you might get 10 to 20, at the very most 30%. But I doubt that very seriously. That will have the chimp out phase. The normies and you will be avoiding that. The herd en masse does not want to deal with that. They know that's a bad situation. But just like every village has its idiot, every herd has about that percentage of it that is going to be ridiculous. Not prepare, not plan, and chimp out. But the rest of them, they're going to wait it out and let the chimp outs do what chimp outs do. And as we have seen before, government and its ability to plan, it's not actually going to be that long of a waiting game. I mean, just look at past times of when, especially in the U.S., when it comes to hurricanes, tornadoes, and things of that nature, when the local governments have to wait out repairs in order to get more supplies in, and they've got their own backup systems of fuel for their police force, fire, and ambulances. It's not a very long amount. So as long as the herd, and they will be, can wait out at least a month, they'll outwait the system. And the chimp outs, well, chimp outs is going to do what chimps outs is going to do. Take all the news that you've ever heard of the chimping out brigade and see what happens over time. Take, for example, what happened in New Orleans. What is it? 2 weeks before the dying started? And I don't mean the dying starting from them being violent to each other, but from, lack of resources. That is the worst case scenario. In this situation, it might actually go faster from these fuel shortages or slower, but the chimp out won't last long. And now all of us are sitting there wondering, including the herd, well, how long is that going to take? What is this fuel situation looking like? And nobody really knows. Is the government that stupid? Which is why the herd just cannot get around the fact that they could be. But they do understand that they've been actively under attack, especially since the whole COVID fiasco. So they may not believe stupid, but they do understand evil and diabolical. At this point, I don't see how the government gets out of this anyways. Did you guys know that we can't even refine the oil that we produce here in the U.S.? That our refineries are not set up for that. I thought that was kind of crazy. From what I understand, the Cushing's reservoir is now below tank bottom. How they squeezed that much out, holy cow, I don't know. But they got every little bit that they could. And now we've got the others that I'm sure is getting drained even faster. now that Cushing's is out. I do understand that the strait is moving somewhat, but it's kind of like no matter what is it? How long did it take? I think it was it's 2 to 3 weeks just to get here from there. That doesn't take into the account of getting ships there, filling them up as they all wait in line before they start their journey over here, which definitely takes us past the first week of July. So I don't know how long this buffer's going to be, and neither do the normies, the herd. So it really doesn't matter what the news is this week or who's doing what, or, oh, if we Save America Act with the voting thing, when you've got morons running the government, either purposely or foolishly running us out of fuel that powers this country. It just doesn't matter. May the Lord bless you and keep you. In Jesus' name.